Hi everyone, welcome to Operations Management course. In this lecture, we will learn Statistical Process Control Chart. This is the third lecture on SPC, and we will be learning how to interpret Statistical Process Control Chart. So then, how do we interpret a Statistical Process Control Chart? There are 5 rules that I want to introduce you to, and let us take a look at rule number 1. Rule number 1 is that this is the easiest one, that is that one point when out of the upper control limit or lower control limits. In that case, this process is clearly not in control because it went out of the boundary that you set. So you want to look at, first of all, if there is any point that went out of the boundary. The second rule is this. If there are 5 consecutive upward or downward trends like this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dots are on the upper side or lower side, and it has continually increasing or upward trend, then that's a warning sign. This pattern needs to be examined right away. So look at this kind of pattern on the upper hand or the other side. You want to look at it and then examine that. Rule number 3 is 2 or 3 plots near lower or upper control limits. So we have upper control limit here and lower control limit here, and if you have 2 or 3 points near them, then it's problematic because it's so close to the specifications. Rule number 4 is aerodynamic behavior. The best thing is that these dots are oscillating around this center line, and it has regular patterns, and that's the best thing to see. However, in this case, it's kind of difficult what kind of pattern it has. There's no pattern, it's erratic. You cannot tell what is happening. And in this case, you need to pay attention to what is happening in your process and investigate. And rule number 5, the last one, is a trend of increasing or decreasing trend 5 to 6 consecutive plots. This is different from rule number 3 because it is, the other one is staying on the upper side or lower side, and taking a look at 3 or 4 plots. However, this one is just looking at consecutive trends, 5 to 6 plots only, and they are increasing trend continually or decreasing trend throughout the statistical process control chart, then it might be worrisome. Again, as I said, when it is oscillating between upper part and lower part, that's the best scenario. When that is not happening here, you need to investigate that. So if I summarize those 5 rules, it's right here, and this is from ASQ. And rule number 1, outside of the boundaries. Rule number 2, 4 out of 5 points in zone B. And rule number 3, 2 out of 3 points near the limits. Rule 4, 8 or more consecutive points on one side of center line. And rule number 5, a trend is 6 or more consecutive points increasing or decreasing. So in these cases, you want to be doubtful of the process and investigate that. To summarize everything, we have learned in these lectures that SPC is critical because it visualizes the process. Before you didn't know what is happening in the process. Now, you are able to visualize the process and see what is happening. Therefore, you can monitor and improve, right? So that's very important. The second thing is the content of SPC. I said that we need to understand sources of variance. There are two sources, assignable cause and unassignable cause. The variance is everywhere, but when something happens that we can specify and it's assignable, we want to point it out. And we also learned that mean and range have to be investigated together, and we cannot rely on only one source. And the third thing that we learned was SPC chart and how to do that. Process capability I did not cover in this lecture, but the textbook covers that. And we learned how to read and interpret control chart. So I hope this lecture helped you to understand SPC more in details. Thank you.